What's up, y'all? It's your boy Tevin Jameer back at it again with another episode of the Hate It or Love It podcast. Like I told y'all before, like a few weeks ago, I linked up with my cousin, and you see he's here in the studio today. What's up?
What's going on with you? What's going on?
Yeah. So tell them about yourself. Like, what do you do and stuff like that.
All right, well, number one, I'm a manager. I was a manager, and as of now, I am kind of starting my own little media company right now. Starting it off the ground running, with myself and a lot of other family members. As you know, I want you on board as well.
We in talks now. We in talks.
But yeah, I started off managing my best friend. They came and asked me to be their manager. I knew nothing about it. Probably about close to 2 years ago, and I just jumped right in full fledged. Been able to work with a lot of artists, and then from there, I started working on myself and branding myself as well.
Okay, so I guess the first question that I have for you is typically like, and you were managing like music artists, right?
Correct.
So typically, like in the music industry, everybody always wants to be like the rapper or the producer nowadays. Like, what made you want to be like a manager for an artist?
Oh, well, like I just said, okay, so number one, as far as music or entertainment, as a kid, you know, I grew up in the Biggie era, the Bad Boy era, and, they had the dope videos, and I always wanted to be that person in the videos because it looked like they was having so much fun, what I mean? So I never really had an avenue in music or anything. I don't rap, I don't sing. Growing up mainly, I played basketball or sports. I played outside and stuff. That was never really into music. Per se, little background playing the instrument. That's it. But my friends asked me. They was like, "Hey, we need a manager. You're an asshole. You get it done. So, we need you." So I just I learned a lot of things from them. I learned a lot of things from a lot of friends and different things that I have outside of the state, all over, and that gave me a lot of insight.
Okay, so in your own words, what would you say that a manager does?
Well, a manager does whatever it takes to get the job done, to push it to do whatever is best for his artists to get them seen, to handle their day-to-day operations and activity, and to take pressure off them so that way they can focus just on making the music.
Okay, and what good qualities do you think makes a manager?
You have to be a people person. Um, you have to be organized. You have to be able to multitask. You have to be able to manage different personalities.
Okay. Um. Hmm. See, I want to get into the different personalities things, and I guess this is me jumping questions and whatever.
I know
But
you like to get messy. Go ahead.
yeah, so now as far as different personalities, like, was there ever like a challenging time that you had with an artist because of like things going on with them in their personal life, or like how they were taking criticism or stuff like that?
um, yes, I definitely have. I've had the two artists that I managed, unfortunately, you know, not very um, receptive to feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, sometimes I think they harsh too much on it. For instance, anytime someone said anything bad about music, um, about their songs, they were just like, they don't know anything. What do they know? Or they attack their character when usually most fans are just attacking the music,
Mm-hmm.
more so. So,
Yeah, you got to be able to take constructive criticism with like when you're an artist or something like that. Like, well, okay, I did do music for a little bit, and trust me, I got a lot of constructive criticism on it. But what I would typically do is I would just take what I heard and just try to like outdo myself or prove those people wrong. Like, at least when you're an artist, that's what I personally take from it. And then even right now with my podcast and like, I want to do films in the future. Like, I want to take what people say about my work and try to like incorporate it into like future things.
Mm-hmm.
So hearing that an artist can't take criticism, like this is the music industry. That's all you're gonna hear, just criticism and stuff like that. So, I mean, do you want to tell that story, or it's up to you if you want to tell the story?
Well, I'm not gonna go too deep into details about it, but I will say as far as my artists, when it came down to managing them, they wanted reviews, and they received a lot of good reviews, but struggled with handling the bad. Received some reviews from a Zoom meeting that I had with my cousins. We were just talking about topics, and we wanted to do. I said, why don't we do a review on the album? And you know, as is also his best friend since childhood, I made a comment about the flow. Sometimes I get lost in the flow, which is just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He felt though the flow is amazing. That's great. You know what I mean? That's what he thought. Doesn't disregard that I thought his album was trash or anything. I thought he put together a dope project. You know what I mean? Me personally. Um, my cousins per se, they weren't feeling it. My oldest one. So he struggled with that and decided to make a diss track, and um, as well as make memes and certain things on social media. And
Mm-hmm.
um, he didn't like that I defended my family. He was, yeah, but
Yeah. He, he was making memes.
yeah. Not only him, his wife who sings, who I manage as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't. Well, first off, I just want to ask, like, how old are they to be making
Oh, they're my
memes?
age. Samo is 35, and I believe Texas is 34. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, okay. I'm not gonna like step into no beef or judge nobody, but like you reach a certain point in age where you're just, why are you making memes, bruh? Like
Yeah.
that's all I gotta say about that. But we maybe we could continue that later. But on the managing thing, one thing I wanted to ask you is like, what do you think a common myth of like what do you think is a common myth within like managing?
That the manager is the boss and that you have to do what the manager says.
Okay.
That is definitely a common myth with that. Because every scenario can be different. Only
Mm-hmm.
time you're the boss is if you're paying for everything. If you're investing in everything, that's when it's your decision. Or unless maybe at certain times, if you're very well seasoned, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you're at the top tier working with the A-list artists. You know what I mean? Then I can see you calling the shots and whatever. And
Yeah.
that, but then if you're an A-list person working with an A-list manager working with an A-list artist, then I'm sure it's like neck and neck. But then if you're like, a C-list manager or below, and then you're going to the top, then it's kind of like at times it could be you're handling the day-to-day operations more so. It's
Mm-hmm.
more of a collaborative decision. So
See, when you said that that people be believing that managers like they control everything, like they're the boss, you kind of made me think about like Straight Out of Compton, how Jerry was low key like screwing them over, and he was really running everything, and they thought it was him working for them.
hmm.
Like, do you think that's what a lot of people think like managers are really like?
Well, he had a bigger role probably. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Than just a manager. He was probably the accountant. He was probably everything. I think Jerry was
Okay.
more than just managing. So he had control to a lot of different things, avenues. Um, I think in his case, though, at the end of the day, he was like a high A-list guy with a well experience. You know what I mean? He's been in the game, so he had certain connections that they needed.
Mm-hmm.
To gain. But every scenario isn't like that. Look at LeBron James' team. That's more like a
See, you
connect.
gotta explain that to me because I'm not caught up on like at least people managing sports players.
You look at Maverick Carter and what's the other guy? I can't even think of his name. The one that's What's the one that's dating one of the Jenner, the Kardashians or whatever?
I know
One
which
of
one
them.
you're talking about. I know which one you're talking about, but I just can't remember his name right now.
Yes, but they put point blank. They have a whole team. You know, they all work together. They all have different responsibilities. You know what I mean? No one is really like, this is it. This is what you do. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Everyone has a role. So
Okay.
that's also more so the role that I played. Everyone, we were a team. We had a role. Um, I had a role, and my role was to handle, certain day to day operations, promote, organize, and sprinkle any creativity that I could add to the mix. So,
Okay.
and being a buffer too. That's also another job as a manager, is to be a buffer.
What's a buffer?
So, for instance, if I have an issue with something, you send your manager to handle it, so that way you don't have to deal with it directly.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I actually just got a manager for my podcast as well, to help me out and to be a buffer for certain things.
Yeah, when you said that you got a manager for your podcast, that kind of messed my head up because like how people be saying like, did the delivery man have a delivery man? The manager got a manager, so yeah.
Yeah, that's something they used to say when I was
When you were a manager.
when I was a manager. They was like, "Yo, the manager need a manager," because I ain't gonna hold you. I was a little bit outside.
Yeah, I can imagine like you focus doing stuff for one other person. You probably need somebody to help you now with your own stuff. Like,
Exactly. A manager does need an assistant or something. But yeah, but I don't have any artists right now that I'm managing. I do have a couple prospects that I'm thinking about, but as of right now, no, I'm just all into the family thing.
okay. One thing I wanted to ask you, and you kind of talked about it with your last answer. Like, what's your approach to helping an artist as far as like coming up with their image and promoting them?
Um, the first thing is figuring out their um their audience.
Hmm.
Who are you catering to? Which shows what type of marketing tactics that you're going to use, what type of optics that you're going to have, your style. So, um, and then the main thing is you got to get out there and perform.
Hmm.
You got to get out there and connect with your people. I think that's very important.
Okay. So like, you got a personal story like for the artist that you were promoting. How like what type of audience did you push them towards? Or not necessarily you, but like,
Oh, well, I didn't push them towards any. They already had their audience.
Mm-hmm.
According to them, that their audience was 35 and over and married people. So they had an Afrobeat album talking about black love, black excellence,
Okay.
and then he has his album Chain Breakers, which is talking about African Americans breaking those chains or anybody breaking those chains and being able to have financial freedom.
Okay. And as far as the artists that well you kinda already answered this, but like if you have more to say about it. As far as the artists
You getting
that
messy now?
huh?
You getting messy now?
Oh no no no
Oh,
no
okay. All right.
nah. As far as the artists that you were managing, how did that come about? Like, was it just as simple as them just wanting you to do it, or?
Yeah, he just hit me up and asked me. He asked me I think twice. The first time I was just like, I don't know about that right now. I didn't really say a definite yes or no. And then he asked me again, and I just went with it.
Okay. And granted, you also said that he was your best friend, like since childhood. But like, even if you don't just talk about him, like, how do you build trust with someone that you're managing? Because for someone like a manager, like if you have someone that's supposed to take care of everything, like the artist or whoever your client is, gotta feel like they can trust you with stuff.
Well, more than likely, if they're asking you to be their manager. They have a track record, a decent track record. You probably known about them for a while. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But the best thing is to see if is your manager loyal. Is he there? Is he answering and returning your phone calls?
Mm-hmm.
Is he honest with you? I think that's very important. I know me. I would want my manager to be honest with me.
Yeah. Shoot, that's how it is with me. Like anybody that I have on my team, whether manager, somebody I want to work on a project, like I'm always gonna want some type of like loyalty or just know that they're on their stuff. Like
Yeah.
partly that's why I did this podcast with you because I'm just like, all right, like from the little bit that I've been working with you on stuff and like seeing you do your thing, I'm like, all right, I know I can trust him like on a creative and like work
Yeah.
type of way. Because trust me, a lot of these people don't know how to do that. But so have you guys ever like worked with people in the industry like professionally? Because I know you told me that they were independent artists, but have you ever worked with like people in the industry and like?
Oh yeah, we did. We worked with Arsenal.
Okay.
There's a track. He has a track with him. Samo does. They worked with Gata from the TV show Dave,
Mm-hmm.
and and of course Freeway, Philadelphia Freeway. He actually performed with Freeway at the Fillmore for the 20th anniversary. He debuted his single.
And how were those experiences like?
Oh, it was dope to see how the process of creating and branding and optics, the professionalism, um, you know, you see that there is a way to get there. You don't always need a whole bunch of stuff and money. You don't always need a whole big crew all the time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
everyone has to start somewhere.
All right. And I really want to first. I want to get into Dave and then Freeway. So like, what did y'all specifically do with the TV show Dave?
No, we didn't do anything with the TV show Dave. So remember I told you Gata is on the TV show Dave.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Like working with him.
Oh,
like,
so they did two songs with Gata. Um, they so Salmo has a track with Gata. It's called Options. They shot a video out in Hollywood Hills.
mm,
Um, and then his wife Texas has her own single with Gata, and she shot that in Hollywood Hills as well. So they have two singles that they did with them.
true. So, did you guys try to like? Did you guys try to work them into the show or any type of way? Or like, I'm just curious because you know I'm a film and TV guy, so.
Well, no, we didn't try to work them into the show or anything. You know, our main thing was, Samo. From what I know, Samo and Texas, they were major fans of Gata, so they wanted Gata. Yeah.
Okay.
And Gata became a very important guy on the show, especially during the second season. Like, so yeah, he's very popular on the West Coast, believe it or not.
Yeah, because no disrespect to him, but like I really never heard of him until you told me about it. I don't even watch Dave.
Did you look it up?
What?
Did you look him up when I told you about him?
I probably should have, but
You still don't know about him.
yeah, nah. And then also I don't really watch Dave like that, but hey.
Yeah, I kind of stopped watching Dave a little bit. Dave started getting a little different. Yeah.
I mean, I was okay. I was never a fan of Lil Dicky. I don't really like his music like that. Like, no disrespect, but I'm just saying, like, it was his features carrying him.
I like how you
really
say,
him.
yo, you're really good at that. I like how you say no disrespect, but just give all the disrespect.
Because I try not to be too disrespectful, because people be telling me I be hella disrespectful, but I try not to be. But yeah. And then, now, I said it on the podcast before that we live really close to Philly. So Freeway, when you told me that like that y'all linked up with him, I wanted to get the story behind that. So like, how did the features and all that come about?
Well, I actually bumped into Freeway a few times in Philadelphia, and the one time we actually had a conversation. He was really really nice and a genuine person.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, Samo, he wanted to do a song with him. And so we inquired about, doing a single. He said, well, I'm going to give you my manager's number and, you can talk to him. So I hit up his manager and negotiated a recording agreement for the single, an in-studio collab,
Mm-hmm.
which is what we did in music video. and then the performance, and we got the ball rolling on that. It was an awesome experience. There's a vlog of the studio session on YouTube. So if you type in Samo Freeway Studio Session, it'll come up.
All right, I'm gonna have to put that in the bio when this episode comes out. Um, yeah, I mean, I was expecting more to the story, but
Yeah, I mean, it's just as simple as that. I mean, I can't give you guys all the blueprints to how to do all this stuff,
hey, there
but
might be people out here that want to manage someday. Like,
you got to put in the groundwork and the research and do and figure it out to a degree. But best thing I can say is you got to build connections and make connections and meet people and always be a professional and always, you know, stay ready so you don't got to get ready.
okay, okay. Is there any other like Philly artists that y'all could have collabed with, or that y'all were in talks to collab with?
Yeah, Ines, I have responded, got in touch with Ines, and, you know, my artist didn't want to work with Ines. They feel like he didn't match the brand. I thought it would have been a great opportunity. He was coming out with the cheesecakes and stuff, it was a great marketing tactic, him branding himself selling cheesecakes after walking miles and miles and miles to Junior's for a cheesecake for Puffy back in the day. You're young. I don't know. I don't think you was around back then.
I think I heard about
When
that.
was you born? What year was you born?
1998.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You was young. You was probably like five or something like that when it happened. But yeah, 5 or 6. But yeah.
So, was there any talks with like artists like Meek Mill or PNB Rock or Lil Uzi or anything like that? Or that wasn't really like the type of artist like?
That really wasn't the target for right now. You gotta start small somewhere. I mean, I don't want to say start small, but those guys are popping and making new music, and they're at the top right now. You know what I mean? And so we just kind of, you got to work your way there, and we were working our way there.
Okay. I'm gonna get a little messy real quick.
It's coming.
All right. So, do you want to share the full story on like what happened as far as like why y'all don't like why you're not managing them no more?
Yeah, you're gonna get this story out of me one way or another because you were asking a little bit of it earlier. So.
I gotta get a scoop. I gotta get something. And this is the Hate It or Love It podcast. Like, hey, if whoever you manage heard this and they feel some type of way, hey, it's just a conversation.
The one thing that I learned about when you're dealing with certain people or even managing is that everyone doesn't always want to hear the truth. Someone it's really true. You can't handle the truth. Like that shit is the truth. Like or and it may not even be true, but it can be a person's truth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that it comes down to I was always honest about how I felt about certain things and certain decision makings. Even honest about decisions. With the Freeway deal about directions that we wanted to go as far as that. The agreement or whatever, not a deal because we didn't sign with them. But a lot of things started when when I gave a review of the album, when I said, sometimes I get lost in the flow, or at times when he made a new song, he made one song called Run It Up, and I think I said, he asked me, do you fuck with it? I was like, it's alright. You know what I mean? I thought, would have been you would have came harder or something like that, and I said something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, I think they have one song called I think I'm in Love, and I said I didn't like that particular song. It was just that's just my opinion.
What, too lovey dovey?
It's just not one of my favorite songs, and I didn't like the optics with it. For his wife, she has an album, and I said one song I didn't like on the album, which is Heavy, and I said that I didn't like the concept of the video. I thought the concept of the video was boring. That's just me. And they took it as, your family. How could you do that? How could you say that? Or or it became I've always been discouraging and not supportive, and um, I didn't know that being honest, or telling your truth or how you felt about something or giving an opinion is being discouraging. For me, a real friend or somebody is somebody who's always going to be honest and tell you how they feel about something. But you don't always have to go in that direction. It's just how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this though, as artists, don't ask people if you fuck with something, you like it. If you're not ready to hear whether they don't, if they fuck with it or like it or not, that's my whole thing about it. But that was basically, the final straw was our Zoom meeting that I had with my cousins. They reviewed the album, and I said my take. And my oldest cousin was like, "That shit is trash, straight garbage." He said a lot. He said a lot. And my other cousin was like, "That's trash," and he was laughing. He was like,
"Oh damn."
He said it was a hobby. That's James. That's the one that was talking about your short shorts the other day.
All right, real quick. So the first time I pulled up to one of their filming sessions for the podcast, it was Cousin James, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was dapping everybody up. I was saying, "Hey, I'm Sedale's cousin," and he was like, "Yo, cuz, you're gonna have to wear longer shorts than that." Hey, look, they don't feel like short shorts, but I mean, hey, I guess it is what it is. But my thing is, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I've just been raised around a bunch of people that always has something to say and whatever. Like throughout life, you just gotta grow thick skin. Like just deal with it.
Yeah.
Especially just like what I said earlier. Especially if you're a music artist. Look, y'all know I've been putting out music for years and stuff like that. And there was one point where I can admit I was horrible. I was ass. Like that shit was garbage. But throughout the years, it just took a lot of people roasting my shit and me also listening back and being like, "Oh shit, yeah, this ain't it." For me to finally be like, all right, like I can see which ways I can improve. And I mean, as an artist, I feel like that's what you should be doing. Like, especially like what you said, like don't ask people if you're not ready to hear it.
Exactly.
But how can you get better if you don't hear what people have to say?
Exactly.
Now, yeah, I want to get a little bit more messy. You said there was a diss track that.
Well, before you go into the diss track, I want to go into the managing thing. When the meme started, I just told him, I said, you made an album called Chain Breakers, and then you're making fun of somebody who because they live in an apartment compared to you living in a house or whatever it is that's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, wow, like you're supposed to be uplifting people, bringing people down. Just because somebody said they didn't like your music, you attack them personally. I felt like that's a no-no.
Just goes against his image.
And you made a diss track against people who don't rap, and over a bad review, it makes you look bad. Because some of the people that I've known that gave you good reviews, they're like, "Damn, I'm glad I gave him a good review. What would it have if I gave him a bad review? Would I have a diss track too?" We talk about the diss track in our first episode of the podcast too. Like we used to talk about, he was like, when he said James, I thought that joint was gonna be hard. That joint was just garbage.
Yeah, I peeped that when I watch our first podcast. I'm gonna link their first episode down below too.
We're gonna get this after this too, but I don't give a fuck.
Look, I don't rap like that anymore, but if I have to step back in the booth, like if he says something a little too disrespectful, then I'll hop back in the booth.
Yeah, the only one. James got a couple bars. He did the spoken. Mr. Philosopher does the spoken word, so he got a couple bars too.
Okay, then this is just gonna be a family dish. And then, you know what? We're gonna do an Eminem's Haley Revenge on him. Like we're just gonna call it Sedale's Revenge. Get everybody in the family that rap to diss him, and we're just gonna have you talking at the end, like.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, I do want to get into the diss track though. Are you ready to touch on that?
You can touch on the diss track. Go ahead.
All right. So, like I said, I'm not trying to get myself into this beef, but I already got myself into it. Whatever. Um, Sedale sent me the diss track like
Oh
a
shit!
few hours
Damn,
before.
just put me on blast.
All right. A non-disclosed, a non-disclosed person sent me the diss track,
Damn, I gave him another view.
and I was just like, yeah, he could have left that one in the vault. And like, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful or nothing like that, but I'm just like, but I'm just like, even because I didn't have all the context before, but when I was listening to it, I'm just like, this doesn't go hard at all. Like, was that meant to be just a warning disc?
Yeah, he said it was something like he thought he was doing our podcast a favor by putting it out there and adding to it. But I'm like, our Zoom meeting was a preparation for our pod. We've been, it was meetings.
Yeah,
so
that
it was
thing was
like
lighter than light.
Yeah, so so he put that out.
It was Charmin soft.
He put that out. I made a diss track over a Zoom meeting that was never released. But unfortunately, one of my cousins made a Zoom of my cousin's laugh saying that shit trash. He said he laughed, said that shit garbage or trash or whatever, and then put the caption chain breakers in the beginning. We didn't see. I didn't realize he wrote chain breakers in the beginning of it. Reese, our cousin Reese, I'm sorry, OG Amid, goes ahead and posts it. And then that could have prompted. Well, actually, I thought that's what prompted him to make the diss track, but according to him, he made it immediately after watching the Zoom. He doesn't want people thinking he's soft. By the way, that's why he made it. So,
hey, I just want to say for clarification, I ain't say nothing about you being soft, but I'm just saying that diss track was soft.
Oh shit.
Like I said, it was sharp.
The diss track's coming, bro.
Like I said,
it's coming, bro.
It's Charmin soft. But I'm gonna give look. I'm gonna just say this real quick. I'm gonna just say this real quick, and then I'm gonna continue on with the interview. But if I somehow inserted myself into this beef, I'm just gonna give you some advice on how to diss me. On me.
Oh, you're gonna give him hell? Oh, snap.
Because like I said, I was rapping in high school. People would always challenge me and stuff like that. Here's some advice. This is the played out disses that I've heard a lot. My big forehead. I'm fat.
He can't do the big head because his head's big too.
Like I've heard all of that. You're black, but you sound white. Like I heard all of that before. So if you want to diss me, come up with something new. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I can't. That's hilarious.
I mean, if he's as petty as you say he is, I gotta be prepared that he's gonna come out with one against me.
Well, we're both Sagittarius, and he is petty, and I'm petty. So I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, next.
All right. So I mean, you already answered my next question on like if you still manage artists, but I guess I could ask like, would you manage new artists again?
Oh, I definitely will. With the right circumstance. I definitely will. I've learned a lot from managing my first two artists. I probably wouldn't treat them the same as I treat the next person. You know what I mean?
Like, what would you do differently?
Well, one of the things is the relationship was closer because I've known them. You know what I mean? I've known them for 10 years. I've known both of them together for 10 years, and I've known him, Samo, since we were kids. So automatically, you're probably not going to be as comfortable with saying things or whatever. So just off the bat. But I would just keep it definitely straight professional. I probably, next time managing, I won't be investing any of my own funds into it because I did invest some of my own funds into my old, to my last two artists, and that's just kind of probably washed away. But yeah, so that's that. But,
okay. What would you say was like some of the biggest lessons you learned from being a manager?
Just taking advantage of every opportunity, getting used to the fast-paced movement of production. We shot a video backstage of the Millennium Tour,
Mm-hmm.
Because we shot a video with Troville in it. Because Texas remade Troville's song. You can never ever get on my level. That joint. She
Mm-hmm.
remade that, and so um, yeah, it's very fast paced. Just seeing them in and out, how they're getting ready on stage, and it's a lot. You know what I mean? And just the professionalism behind it, the money behind it. Um, that's what I gained from it.
Okay. And then, aside from music, would you like manage anybody else, like as far as like different industries, like film, maybe TV, or like
I would
sports or anything like that?
I would love to be like a sports agent or something. I think that would be so cool, so dope. Especially given I love basketball, so I would love to manage someone in basketball.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. If the opportunity came up, I would definitely take it.
Okay. And you feel like you can use like a lot of those skills that you learn from managing like music artists to sports players?
Definitely. I mean, it's networking, it's selling, it's yeah. I mean, it's branding. You know, so definitely.
Okay. And all right. So after all the managing stuff, now you like you said at the beginning of the podcast, you started your own podcast. You're trying to start like a media group and stuff like that. So when did the idea of that come about?
Well, so this goes into another thing that I feel so with my artists too is that for the longest I have been trying to do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to branch into something. Um, so originally I wanted to throw my own events. Um, I wanted to do like potentially a beat battle, a DJ battle, or fashion shows. Even some open mics or spoken word. But that never happened. They weren't always didn't always seem as supportive or wanted to get as involved as I would have liked them to be. I guess I expected them to be as involved as I was in their music careers. I thought they would have been as involved in my own ventures as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that wasn't. So I've been trying to do it for about a year and trying to work with different people. A lot of people had different visions. I didn't feel like certain people were sophisticated enough, and so I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna hit up my family." I hit up one of my oldest cousin, who's Reese, OG and Mid, and then I hit up my other cousin James. Mr. Low Life Community, Polo. um, and I said, "Let's get this going." And we've been working since like the beginning of March, and we didn't film our first episode until July. Um, Putting everything into play. Um, it has been some battles with family squabbles and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
we've been able to make it work.
Okay. And well, now that you already brought up James and damn, what was the other one's name?
Reese.
Reese, James and Reese. I remember their nicknames, but I
Yeah.
just don't remember their names.
Yeah.
But so why'd you pick them as co-hosts? And who's your other co-host again?
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt.
Yeah, Matt. Why'd you pick them as co-hosts?
Um, I picked Matt. Okay, so I wanted something that created conflict. Everybody that talks about the same thing and agrees on everything, that's boring. You know what I mean? So I got my oldest cousin who is 55, and um, he thinks everything is garbage now as far as music rise or sports. Everything is better back then,
Mm-hmm.
And then he brings he brings a street element into it definitely. Whereas I have my other cousin who is totally opposite, who is you know Mr. Low Light Community and Mr. Six Syllable Words. He's going to kill me when he watches this, but he's into poetry. Um, he's a reader. He's a writer. Not He gets down with the music of today. As you know, he likes the NBA young boys and the Lil Durks of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're totally opposite. And then you have me. He's in his 40s, so he has a different perspective as well. And then you have me. I'm in my 30s, and I have a different perspective. From the suburbs. I have my own element, and then we have Matt, who brings a whole different element to it as far as he knows a lot about investing. Um, he's really big into pop culture and pop music, whereas the three of us, we may not be as big into pop music like the Taylor Swifts and um, the Taylor Swifts of the world. He's a fan of her. He's a fan of Doja Cat. You know what I mean? I'm not really a fan of Doja Cat. So it works out, and we all have built chemistry too. So that's another thing.
Yeah, that was one thing I definitely liked. Like when I was watching y'all film the episodes here, and then even when I watched the episode on YouTube, like I like y'all chemistry.
Yeah.
And it's very weird because like just like how you said, like everybody is so different, but somehow y'all make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the Opposing Perspectives podcast like came about.
Yeah, I just wanted something. I just wanted something different where we can create content and talk about. And the purpose of the pod is to being able to express yourself and your opinion and your values, while also being able to listen to someone else and respect their values, or morals, or opinions, or their perspective about something, without getting upset and having to attack an individual. Because everyone can learn from everyone.
Okay. See, me and him talked on the phone about our podcast and stuff like that. And we were maybe it's a family thing, maybe great minds that think alike, but our podcasts are very similar in like that type of aspect, which I'm so glad you like basically based your podcast off that. Cause I said like a few episodes ago, like one thing that gets on my nerves is like when people start podcasts and they just talk about the normal shit you always see on podcasts, like alpha male stuff and like, oh, this was all my sexual stories and stuff like that. Like it gets on my nerves because you just sit there and you listen to people talk about nothing.
Yeah.
And they don't add nothing interesting to it. So that's one thing I like about y'all podcast. Like at least when y'all talk about stuff, like y'all actually have like an interesting like perspective to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna spoil anything for like future
Oh
episodes.
no, you're good.
But on one of the episodes,
I like throwing some teasers out there. Go ahead.
On one of the episodes that I saw y'all film, y'all was talking a little bit about body count, and typically when you hear people talk about like body count, I don't know, they just go for that viral clip that you see on TikTok, and it's just always the typical shit. But like, I don't know, the way that y'all started asking questions about like, okay, like what about in this scenario would you care and stuff like that, like y'all have more than just ignorant shit to say about it.
That probably sounds like James. James is like Mr. Comparison and Contrast. Like he's like, well, what do you like? Do you like, he's gonna give you, is it Jay or Hove? Do you like NBA Youngboy or Moneybag? You gonna kill me?
NBA Youngboy. Hey, I got nothing. I got nothing against Moneybag. It just I just don't get interested in his music. If I'm be honest. But yeah. So how has, because you just recently dropped the first episode of the podcast. Yes. How has people been receiving it?
Well, right now I just released it. Didn't really put anything behind it as far as marketing wise. I just put it out there, and we're just reposting it. But I think so far people are very receptive to it. It's been a long process. I'm glad that I was able to put it out there. We went through a lot to get that episode out. It's been a long process, but I'm thankful for Sean Chambers, nickname is AKA Mookie, and for the videography and for editing, and then want to thank Brian Hairston also for his photography service, for hooking me up with all of this content for us to be able to put together. It's just been really dope. I really want to just thank the whole team. My my old head cousin, Ahmed, and then thank another old head, James, and thank Mad and thank Marie as well. Just all of them for joining me through this process. My manager Cheese as well. I also have working on another assistant director as far as his name is Kenny Mack. He's a dope individual. And looking at another editor as well, which is from Mike Peters. So those are other prospects I'm looking at.
Okay. Definitely shout out the team. A lot of this shit ain't possible without your team behind you.
Yes.
Especially, me and him was talking about this, but I was like, damn, I need me a team on mine because like, everything is pretty much directed, written, and produced by Tevin Jameer.
It sounds a little bit narcissistic.
Wait. It ain't like, wait. I said I need a team. I'm not Tyler Perry out here. I'm not purposely trying to do it all by myself.
It sounds like the episode of Dave Chappelle, like, who edited, produced it? Dying on.
Shit, I'm out here moving like Dialogue without even trying.
It's tough, man. It's tough. I've been there trying to do everything by myself, and I realized you just can't do it. You need a team. You need different people, and utilize their skill sets, man. So, just come on over, man. Come on over, man. Be a part of the media, man. You ain't got to be out there on the outside. Join the family.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, we in talks.
That's a bet.
But yeah, from everything I've been seeing, like from the little bit that y'all put out and stuff, like I've seen people receiving it pretty well. Like when I watched the first episode, and I was watching it this morning actually when I was at work, because that's the time I always listen to podcasts and whatever when I'm always at work and whatever. And I've seen people commenting, like talking about like the topics they find interesting and stuff like that. So, are you planning on having any like special guests coming on the podcast anytime soon?
Hopefully, you coming on soon.
Damn, I'm not trying to sound narcissistic.
Yeah, I plan on having. We're doing the family reunion pod that's coming up.
Catch that soon.
We're filming 2 episodes there, which is dope, and we're gonna get some content, family content. So yeah, I definitely hope for you to be on there then.
All right. Y'all heard it here first. Y'all boys gonna be on there at some point. So all right, I got like 2 last questions left. Now, as far as the podcast, what's the overall plan that you want to do with it?
All right. So what the podcast is, I came up with the idea is I thought the podcast is something to keep the family together, working together, and since I was, been out there in media and entertainment a little bit, there's certain skills and certain things that I learned, and, I feel like we have a very talented family, and, I want to be able to use my knowledge and what I know and to help us grow.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like we can do so much, and I think it's a great start of what we're doing right now. So, basically with the podcast, I've given it's open access to family. Family could come on, they can be a guest, they can shout out their brand, rep their brand. If they want to make a commercial and put it on, they can. So that's ultimately what I want.
So pretty much like a whole family business with the podcast.
Not to say family business to a degree, but I want family. I want it to be an open door policy, a revolving door for family to be able to utilize. So when we talk business terms, we talk about everybody taking a piece and having decisions say and certain things like that, and hiring. So it's a little bit more involved when you say family business, but. Yeah, I definitely want to work with family and help family. Yes.
True. And yes, we definitely do have a talented family. Like, my brother Steve, he's getting into like making necklaces. Cyrus is making T-shirts.
Cyrus making T-shirts?
Yeah, he's getting into making T-shirts. Our cousin Tony, I told you about, he raps. He was on my podcast on one episode too, and he's in the filmmaking just like me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have the talent in the family, but just pretty much got to bring everybody together and utilize all the different avenues.
So we got the family reunion the 26th, so hopefully,
Yeah.
opportunity to network with more family.
Mm-hmm. And last question I have is, what's your overall what's the big goal? Like, out of all the ventures you're doing, whether it's podcasting, managing, like, what's your overall goal? Like, what do you want to achieve?
Me approaching my mid-30s, I just want to leave my mark on leave my mark here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
When I leave here, I want to be able to say I've done this. People, I'm living forever because I have optics. You know what I mean? I'm everywhere, and that's the end goal. Everybody would say you want to get rich or make a whole bunch of money, but you just want to be able to do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's that freedom.
Yeah, I definitely feel that answer. That's what I be telling people when I say when it comes to my films and stuff. Like, I just want to make movies that has a legacy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, basically, I want to go out like John Singleton. Like, do you remember Boys in the Hood? You remember Four Brothers? Yeah, that was me.
So you saw my shirt and thought about that?
Oh, no. John Singleton is just one of my favorite directors ever.
All right.
I didn't even peep you were wearing a Boys in the Hood shirt.
No, I was just checking. Okay.
But, yeah, that's how you know we family, man, because we just pretty much have the same goals overall.
Yeah, no,
same plans. So, yeah. But, Sedale, it was nice having you on here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Shout out, like, your social medias and stuff like that.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, hit me up on my personal IG account, Survive and Thrive 88. You can also find me on TikTok as Dale88, Facebook, Sedale Pennington. I want to shout out the podcast, Opposing Perspectives. We're on IG.
Check that out, link in the bio.
Yes, Facebook. We're on YouTube. All you got to do is type in Opposing Perspectives Podcast on the search engine. We come right up. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Also, shout out to Ralph's Favorite on IG. That's James. OG Amid, 10K Clothing, and Benjamin Savage, Matt Ender on IG. Thank you.
No. It was nothing that you said. I just peeped Benjamin Savage. Like, my favorite show of all time is Boy Meets World, and
that's one of my favorite shows too.
And
Topanga is a baddie. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. But did he name himself Benjamin Savage after that?
I'm assuming, yes.
Hey, Ben Savage, that's my boy though. But yeah. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Like I said, I'm going to have all his links. Matter of fact, I'm just going to have everybody's links in the bio. Check out Opposing Perspectives Podcast. Once again, Sedale, thank you for showing up.
No problem.
And catch me on the next one, on the next episode of the Hate It or Love It podcast. We out.